evening, everyone. How are we doing? Having a good time? Woo, awesome. Yay, super fun time. My name is Velida. I am a lead software engineer here at Mantel Group. Welcome to Mantel office in Melbourne. It's great. And I'm here to talk about new developer productivity features in Microsoft DevBox and Azure Deployment Environments. Nice, shiny rainbow. Who's heard of those two technologies? A couple of you? Okay, cool, sweet. So my kind of intention is to just explain what those technologies are, what they do, and then I'll tell you what's new about them, do a little bit of a demo, and attempt to do that all in 15 minutes. So if you have questions, please go on the Slido, ask lots of questions, and I'll be happy to answer. Okay. So yeah, lead software engineer, spent most of my career doing .NET and Azure. I've worked in various different industries, so banking. I used to work in New Zealand, so agriculture. Coding for a bunch of farmers is great fun if you get the opportunity to do it, because they definitely need a digital uplift. Also the health and insurance industries, retail industries, also gambling as well. Gambling was an industry I never thought I'd get involved with, but it's some pretty cool high scale, we cannot fail type stuff, which is really, really interesting. So I recommend if you don't have a moral aversion to it, like I did initially, I'd recommend doing that. Also former Microsofter and former Microsoft MVP, trying to get it back, but we'll see. And former average rugby player. That's why I went to New Zealand in the first place. Cool, so onboarding. Who here has kind of joined a new organization, got started with getting a nice laptop, but it takes forever to get anything kind of done. So getting access to the right things, right environments. The great thing about consulting is you get to experience this lots of times. You get to get on board with a new client and, you know, they get a laptop, wipe the dust off it. They need you to be added to all your various IAM groups and all your various different Azure environments or AWS environments. And you don't have all the permissions you need to actually do your job. So onboarding's hard. So for your developer work environment, you might procure your laptop, install your OS, and it's not just about getting access to stuff, it's also finding out where information is. So onboarding wikis, and when you go through the wikis, you click on the link, it's broken. Great, who knows this? Working around out-of-date instructions, the cloud is a moving target. Documentation doesn't seem to follow, which is always good. Whether you work in a big consultancy company or a banker, or you're working for a small mom and pop shop, or if you happen to be working for the largest corporate companies in the world and you're providing documentation to your customers that's out of date, just a random example. Also access to cloud resources, time to open and rebuild the application resources, getting out VPN. Anyone sat to, like the work from home situation, you have to join to a corporate VPN. It's fun, isn't it? Makes you want to pull out the eyeballs and eat them. And then installing all your tools as well. So it's not like in university days where you could just install in Visual Studio and run a Docker container and do all that kind of stuff. Who here has worked with like Citrix or kind of like, yeah? How's nested virtualization working for you? It's great, isn't it? Like 5 minutes to run Docker, fantastic, exactly what it was invented for. And then there's your application runtime environment as well. So there's all kinds of other stuff as well. So once you find out you don't have access to anything, and you need to raise tickets. That's fun. Go to a nice SharePoint site. You know, it's out of date. It doesn't work. So you raise a ticket to some friendly guy in IT ops who's, you know, stressed, got 50 other things that they're worried about. And if you ask them, you know, how's that request going? And they go, get lost, or other colorful language that they might be using at that time. And it's also clarifying requirements. Like, what are we actually trying to build? What infrastructure do we need? What teams do we need to interface with? What are the networking requirements? What security requirements are there? And it's just, you know, back and forth with all these different requirements and try and get everyone on the same page. And it's all very well, you know, us sitting about it and like complaining and laughing about it, but this has real impact. This is time wasted, money spent, you know, just sitting there, just twiddling your thumbs. And also for developer productivity and satisfaction, I felt like at times pretty useless at my job because I can't get anything done. Not for any fault of my own, but just the system is not enabling me to be as productive as I should be or as I can be. So the kind of two technologies that Microsoft have that attempt to kind of increase developer productivity and make it a little bit easier. So the first one we're going to talk about is Microsoft DevBox. And Microsoft DevBox gives developers self-service access to cloud workstations called DevBoxes. And we can pre-configure this with the tools that we need, the source code that we're going to be interacting with, any pre-built binaries that are specific to the work that we're doing. So developers in our team can actually hit the ground running from day one. So no more waiting for someone in security or finance to approve our access. Everything is just kind of set up. You can use pre-configured images from the Azure Marketplace, or we can build our own customized images. So as a developer, we can actually use multiple DevBoxes for our work and then access it through remote desktop clients or web browsers, just like any other virtual desktop. Now, DevBox was created with 3 roles in mind. So first up are kind of your platform engineers and IT admins, and they work together to provide developers the tools and infrastructure they need to do their work. And this includes setting and managing security settings, network configurations, any organizational policies that you might have, to ensure that the DevBoxes we access can be done so securely. Because these, complain about security and compliance and all that good stuff, but they exist for a reason, because we don't operate in a purely technical world. We operate in law and also security, also all that kinds of stuff. So, platform engineers and IT admins can actually work together to provide that for us out of the box. Then you've got your dev team leads. So they'll have in-depth knowledge about the projects you're actually working on. And they can serve as administrators for your DevBoxes and assist in managing and creating the developer experience. And they can also create and manage pools of DevBoxes. And then finally, you've got your developers who will actually use your DevBoxes. So developers can go and self-serve one or more DevBoxes on demand from DevBox pools that are enabled for a project. And then the users can work on multiple projects or tasks by creating multiple boxes. And the intention here is to kind of bridge the gap between development teams and IT operations teams and prevent those long waiting times that I was talking about earlier, just to get onboarded and just to do our work. So at Microsoft Build, there are a couple of new things that have come into preview and also private preview. So there are some things I won't be able to show you today, which is a little annoying. And one of those things I can't really show you are team customization in images. And project-based catalogs. So this essentially offers developer leads and platform engineers new ways to kind of create those customized development environments. But there's also DevBox in Windows app, the Windows app. So this provides us an improved connection experience in the Windows app with quick access to our DevBoxes in the taskbar, and so we can actually transition between DevBoxes and Windows devices a lot more easily. Coming up to enterprise management capabilities that were introduced, so DevBox kind of emits telemetry through Azure Monitor, so we can get some more data and insights into the performance and system events that our DevBox emits, which also helps us with the observability and troubleshooting capabilities for our admins. Also in preview, hibernation on disconnect, so essentially it will let DevBoxes hibernate, if there are no active remote desktop sessions in place, which helps optimize costs. There's also Windows 11 Enterprise image that can be published into the Azure Marketplace for use with DevBox. So your developer tool vendors can now create and publish DevBox compatible custom images using third-party tools via the Windows Client for Developers images in the Azure Marketplace. And there's also more locations. This is available in Australia East, so it's nothing really new for us. But if you're working with developers in Southeast Asia, South Africa, Germany West, Italy North, I'm reading these out, Brazil, Switzerland, more places to deploy them, which is cool. Now, the second technology is Azure Deployment Environments. And what Azure Deployment Environments do is essentially help development teams quickly and easily spin up infrastructure using templates to establish consistency and best practices while maximizing security. So you've got your on-demand access for your DevBoxes, but now this is your on-demand access for your Azure environments. There are a couple of concepts that I'll talk about. So you have a deployment environment. So that's essentially a collection of Azure infrastructure resources defined in a template called an environment definition. So your developers can deploy infrastructure that's defined in templates in their subscriptions where they have access, and then build applications on their infrastructure. So if we think about the people involved, so platform engineers will go ahead and create and manage those environment definitions. To specify which environment definitions are available to developers, platform engineers can actually associate those environment definitions with projects and then assign permissions to developers. They can also apply things like Azure governance based on the type of environment. So if you've got your sandbox environment, testing environment, or production, they can apply governance based on the type of environment. Now, this is just kind of like an overview of what Azure Deployment Environments can do. So your dev teams can actually create templates that match projects to specific Azure subscriptions, identities, and permissions. The infrastructure as code template catalog could be Bicep templates, Terraform templates, and now Pulumi templates. Anyone here use Pulumi? One person. I never meet anyone who does Pulumi. Like if you're a developer, like a hardcore developer, I hear nothing but good things. But for infrastructure people who've worked with Bicep or ARM or Terraform, they're just not interested. Anyway, that's besides the point. So developers actually then can go ahead and deploy environments based on those templates, wherever they are in the current stage of development. So these could be on-demand environments, these could be sandbox environments, or part of their CI/CD. So yeah, what was needed for Azure Deployment Environments? Only really a couple of things. So support for Pulumi and Bicep and Terraform. It was usually, it was started off with just support for ARM, but now there's support for Bicep, Terraform, and Pulumi if you are so inclined. And you also have project-based catalogs as well. So platform engineers are essentially able to provide project-specific templates or enable dev teams to directly customize the templates in a self-serve manner. Awesome. Cool. That was a very whirlwind tour. There's a lot to talk about in 15 minutes. Thanks for Q for letting me ramble at you for a while. But if you have any questions, please ask them away in Slido. I will be hanging around afterwards. And yeah, thanks.